Good evening, everybody. Welcome tonight to our IBC for April. I know that we're going to have a power-packed time together, and we are in for some treat. I've been asked to be the MC tonight for this meeting for all of my sons, and I wanted to just welcome everybody and ask you to lean forward and become engaged into tonight's meeting. Tonight's going to be interactive, so I want you to give it your all and engage, so that the growth that you can get out of this meeting will be optimized. I'm going to ask our CEO of MyWealth, Doc Ant van Tonder, to introduce our speaker for tonight, our guest speaker. It's a wonderful lady that I've just met today, and we had some good conversation. Over to you, Doc.
Thank you so much, Schalk. I must say, I just want to start with meeting by commending you for the wonderful message that you sent out for Easter. It was just so heartfelt, and your ability to tell a story just encapsulates our hearts and minds. So thank you for that. But over to the person of the moment. Our speaker tonight, I am very, very privileged to introduce to you our speaker, Magriet Mouton. Magriet, I have known for many years. In fact, we have shared the training and facilitation platform over the past 22 years. She's absolutely the real deal. In fact, when it comes to loyalty, there is no one that I know that is more loyal to a cause than Magriet herself. Her dedication is something to aspire to. In fact, I can say to you that if she tackles anything, there is just no bars hold. She goes flat out to achieve anything. So she started off with a large training company where she did facilitation. She, by trade, is a teacher of note. But in essence, she's always had a heart for leadership. She's always had a heart to get to the next level. And today she has ended up to be one of the co-directors of the BHB Human Group, a group that is there to facilitate human processes and to help companies go to the next level. And because of her specific expertise, and because of the fact that I personally have been coached by Magriet Mouton, and I can say that with no hesitation, is that I'm a better person for having sat under her teaching. And you are going to have that full benefit tonight as she takes you through the paces in terms of what she shared with me that took me next level in business. So Magriet, from all of us, welcome. We can't wait to hear what you have to say. And I would just like to say on all of us, may the anointing of the Lord be with you, and may you change our minds and hearts as we listen to how you bring the strength out in all of us. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Magriet Mouton.
Thank you very much, Doc Ant. I really appreciate this intro, and I should really get you to intro me at each and every training I do. You make me sound very good. Thank you, Doc Ant. I want to, Dr. Anthony, I also want to thank you for this opportunity. Schalk, thank you for helping me to feel comfortable tonight. I look forward to speaking to your group of people. Right, so I've already seen a lot of people jumping onto the call or this meeting and greeting us in the chat. So Liz Hawks, thank you so much. Good evening. Thank you for the blessing. Dr. David Kasuani, thank you so much. Christu, thank you. Juanita, great to see you here. So this is an opportunity for you to let me know where you are joining us from tonight. So in the chat, please tell me, your name and where you're coming from tonight. So I'm coming to you straight from the most southern tip of Africa, in a small town in the Western Cape called Bredasdorp. I'm visiting my parents here at the moment. So, are you also in Bredasdorp? Wow. Okay, we are neighbors. Centurion. Yeah, we have people from Pretoria. Tanya from, Audrey and Tanya from Cairo in Egypt. Wow. Thank you so much for joining. Magaliesburg. Yes, Sabine. Boksburg. Yes, I grew up in Boksburg, born and raised. So Yes, okay. Oh no, Washington DC. Or should I say, oh yes, Washington DC. Benoni, welcome. Johannesburg, yes. All the way from Durbs. I hope it's warm there tonight. Durbanville, yes. All my friends. Ah, Vicky, you're just around the corner here in Hermanus. Marble Hall, yeah. How's the weather there? Gerard, is it starting to get cold? We had a couple of breezing winds here during this last week. Johan, welcome from Pietermaritzburg. Christu, Nelspruit, yes, it's always warm in Nelspruit. What can we say? Okay, Helga, Durbanville. Oh, Dr. David, you're all the way from Lesotho. Welcome. It's wonderful to have you on the on this training or session tonight. Really appreciate that you took the time on this Thursday evening to come and listen to what I have to say about something that I'm very passionate about, and that is called strengths. What makes people great? You know, this past couple of days, I've been binging Netflix, like you know what you do when you're on holiday. And I've been looking at a very interesting documentary called The Surgeon's Cut. And what amazed me is how each of these doctors were at some point in time switched on to that which makes them great. And that is what I want to talk to you tonight. What makes you great? Okay, Gerard, thank you. Still warm. Yeah, 30 degrees. That's very hot. Okay, so let's get started. Right. I'm going to talk to you tonight about strengthen the leader within you. And as Doc Ant said, I'm representing the Being Human group tonight, and we're all about realizing potential. That is what gets us excited, realizing potential. Now, I'm going to invite you tonight to join me in this conversation. This is not a webinar. I'm not going to talk the whole time. I want to invite you to tell me what your thoughts are. If you have a question, post it for us in the chat, and then Schalk will come in and facilitate the conversation around those questions. So please don't be shy tonight. Tonight is not the night to be shy. Post those questions as I go along in the chat. Let's hear what great conversations we can have tonight. All right, so let me just take off my watch just to make sure I stay on time. Okay, strengthen the leader within you. Just a little bit about the BH Group. We're the Gallup licensed training partner for in Africa. So we train Clifton Strengths coaches or Gallup Global Strengths coaches. We seek to empower people and positively disrupt workplaces and change the way that people lead by using the science of strengths, focusing on what makes people great. Okay, on the screen you see a pre-COVID photo of me. My name is Magriet, and I thought I'd start off this conversation by sharing my top 5 strengths with you. So my first one is called individualization, and that really gives you a clue of what motivates me and what I feel really strongly about, and that is potential, people's potential. So when I look at people, when I engage with them, I'm always thinking, where are these pools of potential for these of this person that I'm speaking to. So individualization, very much driven around potential. Then I've got a second strength, which we call learner. I love to learn about new technologies, love to learn about people. In fact, my holiday reading is a biography of one of the great leaders of our time, in my opinion. So learning about people and their stories and how they came to who they are as we know them. Then belief, which has got nothing to do with religion, but it's got everything to do with values. So there's different things that I feel strongly about. And I had the privilege today to visit a big cat rehabilitation center, and that is something that I really feel passionate about. I feel passionate about not only strength, but also conservation, animals, big cats, rhinos, etc. So I feel strongly about that's part of my values. And boy, if you cross one of the values that I feel strongly about, then you will see my ears turn red. To the delight of my friends, family, and colleagues. Okay, so my fourth one is called connectedness. People with connectedness, they usually feel what's going on around them in their gut. They see the consequences of a decision. When we make a decision, what's the consequences? They also love large networks, building bridges, something that I feel strongly about. And my last one, my number 5, is called maximizer. People with maximizer love to take things from average to excellence. They love to grow things. And for that reason, I have very early in my career found out that I'm not made for the corporate world. I'm made for small businesses, growing it to a certain number, and then moving on to a new business. So I won't call myself a serial entrepreneur, but I certainly love the entrepreneurial space where you look at investments and, you know, how can I grow that which I put my hands to work. Yes, as you also can hear, I'm Afrikaans. Okay, so when I think of people in leadership, or people aspiring to become great leaders, maybe even leading your family, leading at work, you know, as Dr. John Maxwell says, leading up, leading down, leading across. When I think about that, I think about the different hats that you wear. So you can wear the hats of a leader, being an appointed leader, in a company, CEO, manager, etc. When I think about a leader, I also think about coaches and mentors. You know, you get, especially these days, is our colleagues that are a bit older, you know, and I don't want to put an age to it, but close to retirement. You know, they're great coaches and mentors. That's a form of leadership. Leaders build confidence into people. They can act as catalysts. They are role models. They act as advisors, you know. They're team contributors. Your role as a leader can also be within with your colleagues. And as a friend, you can also be a leader. You want to be the best leader that you can be in all of these roles. And if you focus on your strengths, that which makes you great, then you can become a great leader. And I specifically say this phrase, great leader. And when I say that, I don't mean followers of 10,000 plus, but making a difference in someone's life by being a confidence builder, catalyst, role model, advisor, etc., through using your strengths. So what are we going to do tonight? We're going to see a little bit around, you know, how strengths work, how, you know, the role strengths play in nurturing leadership qualities, and then, you know, an exercise around being your best. So Ralph Waldo Emerson said something that resonates really well with me, and that is, what lies behind us and what lies before us are tiny matters compared to what lies within us. And that, my friends, that's the strengths that you have within you. And as I speak to leaders, and I spoke to a young leader during this week, and he said to me, Magriet, I moved into this role of an executive, and I'm suddenly scared, and I'm so nervous, and I'm going to make a mistake. And I could point out to that leader that one thing that you have within you that hasn't changed are your strengths. That which lies within you, your strengths, doesn't change. You just apply it in different ways, different situations, in different contexts. So the good news is that that your strengths doesn't change. Now, Dr. Donald Clifton, they call him the father of the strength psychology movement, or the positive psychology movement. He used to help Martin Seligman. They used to do research together around positive psychology and strengths-based psychology. He asked the question, it's now about 50 years ago, he asked the question, what will happen when we think about what is right with people rather than fixating on what is wrong with them? Focusing on what is right with you instead of what is wrong with you. And we have seen how this concept, this philosophy, when applied in your workplace, in your teams, if you're a manager, in your, how you work with your team, even in families, it makes a world of difference. It makes a world of difference. Focusing on what's right with your partner, focusing on what's right with your children instead of what's wrong with them, just lifts them up. It's amazing when you see this in action. So what Donald Clifton did after he asked this question around what's right with people instead of what's wrong with them, started a study, a worldwide study around excellence. Okay, because if we focus on what's right with people, we need to study what makes them excellent, and what excellence looks like. And the study of excellence really changed the way that we think and strive for excellence. And what they found out, friends, is that firstly, a focus on weaknesses can only prevent failure. Okay, if you focus on weaknesses. They also found out that a focus on the development of strengths will lead to excellence, right? Areas of non-talent never develop into areas of strength. That's quite interesting. Now, I want to ask you to use your chat button now. Okay. So, for those of you who have children, okay, I want you to think back to the time pre-COVID when you still could go with your child to receive their report their report card at the end of the year. Okay. So when you receive that report card, you open the report card. What are the first grades that elicit an emotion in you? Type for us in the chat. If you look at what do you focus on first when you look at that report card of your child? What do you look at first? Yes, Juanito, you're absolutely right. Okay, yeah, the pass rates. Okay, Schalk. Okay, anything below B. Mark, you're like my mom. Mathematics. Right. Yeah, pass or fail. Christo, wonderful distinctions. Yes, Dr. David, pass rates. Yeah. What did my child pass on that? The reality is exactly actually what Juanita said. We tend to focus on those grades on the report card that are not so great. And then us as parents start to make plans. Okay, you know, how are we going to help our child to increase that rate, you know, and how are we, you know, what classes can we take them to master maths, you know, to get that math number, you know, higher. The reality is, ladies and gentlemen, that if your child has an average of 30% for mathematics, the chances of them getting an A or a B in mathematics ever is very slim. And that's the point that I want to make here is, and that Gallup's research has shown, is that areas of non-talent will never develop into areas of strength. We naturally do better in subjects that we have a natural interest in. Okay, and that natural interest is fueled by our talents and strengths. Right. So you'll see that if you focus on getting that 30% in mathematics, to maybe you know, you want to go for 70%, usually it's just, you know, pass 45%, 50%, that's good. But when we focus on strengths and we see that 60%, that shows us that there's an interest there, you know, and maybe you can push up when you invest time, you get more knowledgeable and experience into that 60%, you can usually get that up to 70, 75, perhaps 80%. Yeah. So areas of non-talent never develop into areas of strength, but focusing on the development of strength will lead to excellence. And that growth is quite exponential. The research has shown us. So the other thing that they also found out in the study around excellence, and by the way, they studied around 2 million people across the globe, they said that we need other people to know our talents and strengths so that we can become the best that is us. We are not an island. Okay. Anyone who has tried to work or live on an island would tell you that it's difficult. People can bring out the best of us. They can also bring out the worst of us. But when we start to focus on what makes people great, their strengths, you know, and we implement different strategies around that, then it becomes easier. All right. Okay. So the great news for you and your children is that everyone has talent. And Gallup, having done, as I said, over 40 years of research on talent, has come up with a definition. They define talent as a naturally recurring pattern of thought, feeling, or behavior that can be productively applied. It's always strengths for a purpose. Okay, so I just want to read that again. It's a naturally recurring pattern of thought, feeling, or behavior that can be productively applied. The great news is that this talent, this pattern, can be measured. And I'm going to show you how in just stay patient, just stay with me. Okay. So the key to success then for you, not only as a person, but as a leader, the key to success for you to lead with purpose is to identify and then understand how to apply your greatest talents and strengths in your everyday life. So the first one, the first thing that you need to look at is, how to identify my strengths, and then how do I apply my strengths. So we're going to play a game now, and I think you're going to enjoy it. So get those fingers, warm up those fingers. I'm going to ask you to engage with us in the chat again, and I'm going to ask you to type the word yes if what you see on the screen applies to you. If the phrase or the sentence on the screen applies to you. All right, fingers on the buttons. I hope you're ready. The next one, let's look at the first one. Okay, hand up or type yes if you always talk to people in elevators, airplanes, stores, and wherever you go. All right, let's see. Okay, Chris says yes. Peter, yes. Nicole, KP, Vusi. Okay, oh, okay, Chris too. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. I've got one for you. Ian, yes. Neil, wonderful. Okay, all right. So what you're looking at here is the application of what we call a strength. It's how you can spot a strength. Okay. So when you see people talking in elevators and airplanes and stores and, wherever you go, that could give you a clue that you may have a strength called communication, or what we call woo. Woo! It stands for win others over. Win others over. Okay. So you could have that, or you could have a strength called like mine, called connectedness. I want to connect with people. Okay, so I talk with people in elevators, airplanes, and stores. So it's the strength, who you are, really motivates you to do certain things, to behave in a certain way. Okay, right. Okay, next one. Let's see. Right, type yes if you write down a list of things to do and you stick to it, even on weekends. All right. Oh, Tanya, yes. All right. Okay. Schalk says, no, that's not him. Okay, Christy, I'm glad that we've got that. Okay. Now, guys, I'm going to tell you a little secret, and Doc Ant, please forgive me. I hope I'm not stepping on your toes. So I know that Doc Ant, when they go on a holiday, he always writes down a list to do, and he wants to stick to it. But sometimes that list has 15 things on it, and he wants to tick that list off within 5 days on holidays. You can just think, shame, Doc Michelle. You got to feel for her. Right. Juanita, yes, that's me. Else I forget what I want to do. Right, now, ladies and gentlemen, so this is the behavior that could be motivated by a strength called achiever. Okay, achiever being completing things, not being the best. It could give us a clue that activator could be a strength that motivates this behavior. Maybe it's could be discipline as well. People with discipline like to have order. They love order. So maybe that could be that. Okay, next one. Hand up if you, or type yes if you always need to pick someone to race while driving. Doc Ant, I drive my wife nuts. Okay. Okay, let's see. Peter, finally a yes. Francois, well done, yes. Now, all you who have said no, you are all liars, because if you live and drive in South Africa, you always raise the taxis. Okay, so yeah, we need to talk about honesty here. Now, this behavior gives us a clue that competition may be one of the strengths that motivates this behavior. People with competition, they pit themselves against other people, against the best. They want to win. They don't necessarily want to be the best, but they want to win in the race against the people they are in. The wonderful thing about competition is that if you are on a team with someone who has got competition as a strength, you can be sure that that leader will take the whole team and make that team a winning team. And I've seen this in action, in fact, with Doc Ant. In the 25 years that we've known one another, I've seen him in different setups, driving teams, wanting the team to be the best. So I'm sorry if there's other people with competition in here. I would love to have a conversation with you as well. I just know one person with competition that's on this meeting today. Right, next one. Okay, type yes if you are always accused of being too nice. If you are always accused of being too nice, type yes. Come on, don't be shy. Thanks, Nicole. Oh, Schalk, I think you're right. Yes, you were pretty nice to me on the phone today. Peter, I've got one coming up for you. Jonito, for you as well. Okay. Right, yeah, Jaco, not always, just, sometimes that happens to me as well. Now, this could give you a clue that a strength called relator or harmony could be a strength, maybe includer as well. People with typical relationship building strengths, they come across as very nice people. Okay, right. Okay, Antoinette. Yes, competition is a strength. Nice. Now I know two people. Okay, friends, type yes if you're always accused of not being nice enough. Now I'm gonna put up my hand here because when there's certain situations where I'm being accused of not being nice enough. Peter, thank you so much for standing up and putting up your hand here. Appreciate it. Okay, and Jaco as well. And I see it goes silent. Oh, really? Are you saying that your wife accuses you of not being nice enough, or are your wife not nice enough? We need some context there. Schalk, okay, all right. I say Vusi. Cool. All right, let's see if there's another one for us. Okay, type yes if you push the elevator button to remind it that you are there. To remind it that you're there. Yes, Susan. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Francois, that's the power question. Who does not? Now, let me give you a little trick here. You don't push the elevator button numerous times. You push it and you hold it in, then it skips all the floors and goes straight to yours. Okay, Dr. Ant, I'm just going to charge extra for that tip. Just make a note, please. Okay, fantastic. Right, okay. So, this gives you an idea of maybe people with activator. People with activator could be very, how shall I put it, impatient. They could be impatient and and so on. Maybe people with self-assurance, okay, people with commanding the elevator to be there. So when Gallup did this, how shall I put it, this research, around excellence, they obviously wanted to measure what excellence looked like and see how it shows up in people. Okay, and when they did this this research, they came up with an assessment called the Clifton Strengths Assessment. Previously, it was called the Strengths Finder Assessment, and maybe you've heard of it. But the Clifton Strengths Assessment has now been conducted in more than 60 countries. It's in more than 30 languages. It's now 24.9 million people have now completed this assessment across the world. More than 2 million people were studied over the course of 40 years to build this assessment. And Gallup has 2 Nobel Prize winners or Nobel laureates on their board, which advises them. So what I love about this assessment, the Clifton Strengths Assessment, which I want to tell you about tonight, is that it's backed by science and it's backed by a whole lot of research. Okay, right. So I want to show you a short video just to show you a little bit more about this assessment and what this assessment does and what it can tell you, how it measures the excellence that's within you as a leader. So I'm going to just make sure that I share the sound, and I'm really crossing my fingers that it works. In the chat, Doc, and if you can just give me a heads up if you cannot hear the sound, so that I just started again. So let's cross fingers. Okay.
Zillion a real number? No, zillion's not a real number, but it is a word you might be tempted to use to describe all of the talents found in people. Creating a list of every talent is an impossible task, but if you step back, you'll see that talents have commonalities that allow us to group them into themes. Some talents, like a natural ability to share thoughts, create engaging stories, and find the perfect word, relate directly to communication. That's what they have in common, a shared theme based on communication. So to begin thinking and talking about them, we can call them communication talents. Your distinct Clifton Strengths 34 profile sets you apart from everyone else. Your Clifton Strengths 34 profile is your talent DNA in rank order based on your responses to the Clifton Strengths assessment. The Clifton Strengths at the top of your profile are the most powerful. Similar to your fingerprint, these themes represent how you are uniquely talented. There are nearly 34 million possible combinations of top 5 themes. You heard right, nearly 34 million. Start with your top 5. Develop these Clifton Strengths to make the most of your profile and maximize your potential. Your greatest chance to succeed at work or anywhere else lies in strengthening what you naturally do best and doing more of it. Try this. First, name it. Carefully read the descriptions of each of your top 5 Clifton Strengths themes and identify parts of the theme descriptions that are undeniably you. Try to describe a recent situation when you used each theme. Next, claim it. Reflect on who you are. Think about your experiences, your motivations, how you see yourself. Then, consider how your strongest Clifton strengths shape you, what you do, how you do it, and why. Share your report with people close to you. Ask for their reaction. Then, aim it. Post your top 5 themes from page 22 of your Clifton Strengths 34 report in a place where you'll see them every day. Start with the suggestions for action in the report. Then, try to find more ways to use your strongest Clifton strengths in your daily activities. Your talents are an instinctive source of wisdom and power. And as you start to intentionally use your most dominant Clifton Strengths themes, you'll find ways to build on your greatest areas of potential. You have dynamic talents, just waiting to be unlocked and developed. Use your report to name, claim, and aim your most dominant Clifton Strengths themes.
Yeah, what a great clip. Ladies and gentlemen, if you can just type for me in the chat, what was one thing that really stood out for you out of that video clip? Just quickly, 1 or 2 words, maybe 3 words. Just what was one thing that stood out for you on this clip? Yeah, discover hidden talents. Aim. Yes, Stephen, absolutely. Aim your strengths. Claim your strengths. Vusi. Mark, everyone is unique. Absolutely. Absolutely. Everyone is unique. How do you like that? 34 million combinations. The chances that anyone else have the same top 5 strengths as you in the same order. 1 out of 33 million. That makes you pretty unique. Pretty unique. Okay. All right. Okay. Fantastic. Okay. Yes. Getting some nice information set apart. Yeah. So what we've learned about, when we engage with people around their strengths is that we all have instinctive ways of behaving. Okay, 34 million different combinations. That makes people pretty unique, right? And it's interesting, if we work with people, we think, why can't you just think like I do? Why can't you just act like I do? What is wrong with you? No, that's not the right question. The question is, what's right with you? Let's identify that and let's get to know one another better. When you use your strengths with intention, they can be a source of great power and contribution. Okay? We also learn that everyone is different and that everyone, when they use their strengths intentionally, they can contribute in very different ways. It always overwhelms me when I read this. When you use with intention, you can use your strengths. It can be a source of great power and contribution. Okay. Now, in the video clip, you saw that these communication strengths. I've talked about harmony. I've talked about achiever, and so on. The reality is that there are 34 different strengths. And these are all broken up in what we call 4 domains. So we get the executing themes. Those are people that get things done. Okay. Achiever, arranger, making sure that they work through people. People with consistency, they are the guys that love standard operating procedures. You get people with focus, and then you get, can you believe it, a strength called responsibility. Now, people with the strength of responsibility take psychological ownership of what they say yes to. All right? They feel very guilty when they can't make a deadline. People with influencing themes or strengths, they want to speak up for the team and for people around them. They want to make sure that the message is heard or gets heard. Relationship building, the glue of the team. And in strategic thinking, they help us think through situations and information, and how best to make use of the information and those situations. All right. So if you think through, if you look at this 4 domains and the 34 different strengths, I hope that you're starting to get curious and wonder what your strengths may be. Fantastic. Okay. All right. Now, these top 5 strengths, we call them your signature themes. And they help you to filter your world. Just as my glasses help me to see the world differently and better, in the same way, my strengths help me to experience the world in a certain way. My maximizer helps me to experience excellence and growth. My individualization helps me to experience and focus on potential. My connectedness on the consequences of our decisions. All right, so your strengths helps you to filter your world. So what can you then, as a leader, what can you do to become more effective? Well, there's really 3 things. The first one is look at your past. Where have you been successful? Study your successes, ask questions, dissect it, take it apart. If you look at it carefully, you'll find that your strengths show up in your successes. All right, so look back. What has made you successful? Okay, look at your strengths. What behaviors. Look at the way that you felt. What gave you energy? What motivated you? What really energized you? The second one is to focus on your strengths and manage your weaknesses. As we saw earlier tonight, if you focus on weaknesses, you're not going to be able to develop it. It's almost like focusing on writing with your non-dominant hand. Okay? We all know that when you write with your dominant hand, things comes easy. You don't have to think about it. If someone puts pressure on you to write faster, you are able to do that. But if you write with your dominant hand, a non-dominant hand, in my case, my left hand, if someone puts pressure on me to write neater, to write faster, to make deadlines, when writing, I become very frustrated, very irritated, and ask me to do that for 8 hours a day, I will become very aggressive. And doesn't that give us a clue that maybe if you experience those emotions, maybe you are focusing on strengthening your weaknesses and not strengthening your strengths? So what we say is manage around your weaknesses. And there's certain strategies that you can use. You can partner up with people that's strong in certain areas, etc. But that's a great conversation, maybe for a next time. And then the third one is ask questions. We always say that you're not a mind reader. And as a leader, what I've experienced is that followers think that leaders are mind readers. They think, but the leader ought to know, and the leader should know what I need as a follower. Okay? They don't. So as a leader, do not make the assumption that your followers are going to accept your leadership, that your followers are going to be excited, about suggestions or how you lead or so on. Always ask questions so that you can find out what your followers need. Gallup has done a great study around strengths-based leadership and what followers need, and followers that it came up in the research. Followers need compassion. Okay, they need trust. And there's some other needs that I also have, but those are the two that really stands out for me: trust and compassion. All right, but ask questions. You're not a mind reader. Do not make assumptions on what your followers need. When you do these three things, it's a great starting point for you to be more effective as a leader. Focusing on your strengths, asking questions, studying what makes you successful. So there's a great exercise that I want to share with you tonight. And if you ask Dr. Anthony, I will send Dr. And if there's anyone that's interested in this template, please, I'll send the template through to you, and you can just distribute to the group. That's fine. But these 4 questions are so powerful when you complete it or answer it and share it with your followers, with your partner, with your colleagues, etc. And when you ask them to complete the questions and share it with you, it unlocks some very powerful conversations that is needed. Yeah, what can I say? Very powerful. So the first one is, you get the best of me when. You get the best of me when. So think about it. How would you answer this question? Please feel free to if you're comfortable with it, write it in the chat. Just, if you had to answer this, you get the best of me when. You will get the best of me when. Yeah, well, at this point, it will be for Susan. You will get the best of me when you send me the template. Then the second one, you get the worst of me when. Can you imagine your partner answering that question for you just before you get married? What a great way to enter a marriage. You get the worst of me when. Okay. Yes, when you're stressed. Yeah. Falsely accuse me. Yeah. Where can people count on you? You can count on me too. What if you answer that question to your family? Okay. Guys, you can count on me too. XYZ. All right. You can count on me too. And then this is what I need from you. What do you need from one another? What do you need from your family? In a team setting, what do you need from your manager? What do you need from each of your followers as a leader? Yeah, Vusi, when you need help, respect. When you trust me and give me freedom to do it, you get the worst if you micromanage me. Christy, I hear that quite a lot. Yet managers, they don't really get that, or executives, leaders, they don't really get that. Yes. Okay. So 4 power questions to get the best of you as a leader, and getting that conversation going to bring the best out of others as well. So let me just clear all the drawings here. So the question that I want to pose to you tonight is, what would success look like for you as a leader? As a leader of your family, as a leader at work, as a leader with, maybe you're a leader of friends and family. You're taking one of those roles that we spoke about in the beginning. What would success look like for you? as a leader, please think about this question. Think about how you can use your strengths to become successful as a leader. Again, the key to success is to identify and then understand how to apply your greatest talents and strengths in your everyday life. So maybe you're asking me, Magriet, I'm ready to identify my strengths. Where can I do this assessment? Well, you can do the Clifton Strengths Assessment. You can speak to Doc Ant about that. He will be able to assist you. But just to give you a sense, you can get your top 5 strengths for 390 Rand. That's less than what you spend on a dinner with for 4 people. You can get your strengths, and you do the assessment. It's 177 questions, and the assessment puts your strength in ranking order from 1 to 34. But if you unlock your signature theme report, you get that report, you get your personal insights report, and you get a fantastic platform called Gallup Access, where you can get your you can learn more, you can get power tips on how to use your strengths, etc. When you unlock your full 34 report, you get a 24-page report that includes blind spots, how to manage your weaknesses. You get an online course. You also get the Strengths Finder 2.0 ebook that is included in that, and you can speak to Doc Ant about that as well. Now, for tonight, because you are on this meeting, I will make available to you the Strengths Finder 2.0 ebook. Just let Doc Ant know about if you want it. I will send it to him, and Doc Ant, you are more than welcome then to distribute this to the people that are online tonight with us. So, as I mentioned, the first step is to identify your strengths, and you can identify your strengths within 45 minutes by doing the Clifton Strengths Report. I want to leave you with these words. You are unique. You are powerful. Be confident with who you are. Strengths for a purpose. It's 8 o'clock. Thank you very much, Doc Ant. Appreciate that you listened to me. Really appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Magriet. That was excellent content, and very passionately communicated to us. I always appreciate people with passion, because I know that when you do it with passion, you also live it, and it exudes out of you. And it was an honor to listen to you tonight.
Thank you, Schalk.
We celebrate people with passion, because I know that leaders. One of the things that leaders need very strongly is passion in life. People will not follow just concepts and a little bit of technicalities and stuff. People follow generally passion, and the passion that you've exuded, I've appreciated very much. I just want to also add, one or two observations that I've made. Have you ever observed a tennis player or a high-profile professional sports people? If they've ever tried to play without a coach, especially a team, you can see that even if they have talents all over the show, these blind spots that you were talking about, they obviously are there. But there's nobody who can walk beside them and say, all right, listen, there's a player with this strength who can then add to the weakness of the other and become a team player. And that's, I think, the essence of what I've listened to tonight was that each and every one of us need a coach beside us, because all of us have got these blind spots. And no matter how talented you are, you have these blind spots, and it will stop you from going to the next level. The higher the level that you operate at, the smaller the margin of error that you can afford. Because obviously, sometimes the small mistakes will determine whether you win the game or lose the game. If you observe people like the tennis players like Rafael Nadal against Federer and Novak Djokovic, these rivalries, they're always looking at the small margins that is there wherewith they can outmaneuver their opponents. But put them against anybody else, and they, obviously, they're going to win easily. So I just want to motivate everybody who's also listening to, to this webinar. Get somebody to coach you. And one of the people that, as that I'm sitting around, and I'm fortunate and very, very privileged to be around, is a very precious friend of mine. And he's, in this last year, I've come to know him as Doc Ant. But one of the best coaches I know, somebody who's got really the intuitive experience on how to read people's behavior, how to read people's patterns, and the natural patterns of talents that you've also mentioned. I can see that he's been sitting under your teaching as well, and he's been listening in the class. I can see that very well. He's one of the best coaches I know, and he is very quick to challenge you to go to the next level. It's something that also comes out of his mouth quite naturally and quite a lot, to go to the next level. And every day I'm learning on some business venture, or something that he's been involved with. By the sound of it, he should have lived 2 lives or maybe 3 lives. By the way, he's productive, and his productivity is always at the top level, and I've also seen him shrink and, getting fit in the last year because of his health, and, he's getting his health back and discipline back. And it was just inspiring to look at him at the age of 60, and he's outperforming the rest of us. I've just got the greatest respect for him, and I can see also the influence you had on him, Magriet. That's good. So those small margins of error, I just wanted to mention. Doc Ant is very sharp at seeing these small margins, and also then challenging us to go to the next level. And we are fortunate to have him in MyWealth. He's very quick to challenge us, go to the next level. And sometimes he doesn't say it. So he doesn't challenge you head on. His competitive nature just has that ability to, okay, we'll step up to the challenge. No problems, just by who he is. You can see that because he lives this, it's obviously one of the things that exudes out of him as well. A man of absolute passion. He's a great example for us as a spiritual father, and as our spiritual covering. He's the stability in our ranks, the coach of our team, and he takes us to a higher than we can ever go if we have gone by ourselves. No team, no professional tennis player or somebody who wants to operate at the top of their sports or the top of their field. You need somebody who will be able to challenge you on going to go higher. And you also need somebody who will be able to show you your weaknesses and your strengths. Because sometimes your weaknesses and your strengths are both in your blind spots. And Doc Ant is excellent at that. Magriet, but also what I saw is, you talk about the talents, and it's just awesome the way you've explained it, that it's a pattern. It's a pattern of stuff that comes naturally, that which comes naturally to us, and how to harness that and go forward. It was just something that was thought provoking for me. It'll really take me to the next level in terms of, okay, now I've got something to focus on. What is my strength? How am I going to harness it? And then perform better because of the strength that is in us. Okay, so the strength can be a blind spot, and also the weakness can be a blind spot. And that's why we need coaches. Doc is also a very humble man, quick to stop us in our tracks when we have obstacles that we cannot face always alone. And it's quick to say, let's pray about this. And sure enough, God always comes through with the answer. Very good example for us. And one of his traits that I love the most is that he's got a naughty streak about him. He's just doodgat. And I love him for that. Yeah, like your late dad said, gooi een vir ons, Charlie. Over to you, Doc.
It's such a privilege to be with family, because family can just bring out the best in you and speak about the bone and the core as to who you are. Schalk, thank you for that. It's really endearing. Thank you that you're part of my family. People like you and Charles and Lisa and the rest of the team are just people that make it worth our while. And as you guys can see, I've been sitting around the melting pot with Magriet. Magriet, I've known her since she was 19 years old. And I can tell you that she's on her way to the 50s. So we've really been friends for years. And the coaching has never stopped. And, like we say, iron sharpens iron. We sit at each other's feet and we actually feed off each other because it's all about others, all about other people growing to the next level. So, Magriet, just from me, I'd like to thank you from the bottom of my heart. I think that was excellent. We will respond to our people and give through the panel like we promised, and we'll make it available for people who would like to do the assessment. Guys, I can just tell you that 390 Rand is the best 390 Rand that you'll get to spend to find out what your strengths are. And Rich Simmons, all the way from Italy, I fully agreed with him. So, Schalk, thank you. I'm just going to pop up my PowerPoint. And I think where it goes naturally from the strength within you, I want to talk about the leader within. So I'm going to be honing in terms of the different leadership models that we have and to see what we can do. So if we could just confirm. Schalk, can you see my PowerPoint?
Not yet.
Oh, of course. You see, I'm technically challenged. First share screen.
Click.
That's why I asked.
That's it.
I take it as a go, so can I go for it?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, guys, thank you for being part of the Investor Business Conference. And as you guys know, that this is an invite to anybody who has heard of MyWealth method and would like to know more about the company. But in particular, when you spend time with us over these 2 hours, which is normally every Thursday from 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock, it is purely to help you get to the next level. So when I speak to you tonight, the topic is the leader within. So I want to challenge you. Are you a leader? People think that you have to be a leader only if you have many followers, but that is not the case. I can see a mother leading her children. I can see a husband leading his household. Every single person is a leader in his own right. But what I'm after tonight is to help you at a corporate level to look at more the leader within. Where does this emanate from? Well, with MyWealth. MyWealth is a private club which specializes in leadership development through financial education. If people ask us what encapsulates the heartbeat of MyWealth, it's in particular MyWealth method, it is this model, that we're a private club. That means you can only become part of us if somebody invites you to get here. And then here's the good news. You can join the private club for free, but you have to be introduced by somebody, because the private club joining, we basically deal with private equity. Therefore, there's a lot of confidentiality around what we do and how we do matters and how we serve you. Therefore, it's imperative that when you join up for free, that you'll see the conditions and that you will agree to those before you can become that actual free member and become a private club member with us. And then once you are within our household, you'll quickly see it's all about leadership development, because we don't want to keep ourselves at the same level. We want to challenge you and ourselves to always go next level. As you heard Schalk speak about it, it's something that's natural within us to say, don't keep the good to yourself. And then obviously through financial education, we do believe that if we empower families financially, that we can take this nation to the next level. So that is our motto. This is how we achieve it. But tonight, when I talk about a paradigm, I want to tell you that it's about this thought: leadership versus management. I borrowed this from my good wife, Dr. Michelle van Tonder, when she had made me understand that there's a vast difference between leadership and management. Leadership is people work. Management is paperwork. Wow. I brought that in as my paradigm to say, how you look at leadership and the leader within you depends on how you evaluate how you are going to execute that which is within you. because leadership is people work and management is paperwork. A lot of people who are in management positions assume and think that they are leaders. The fact that somebody has made you a manager doesn't make you a leader. The fact that someone has given you a rank in the defense force doesn't make you a leader. It really just makes you a person of authority who people have respect. Have to respect you because of the rank that you have basically got. But leadership is something that can take you to the next level. Leadership is something that is innate within you. And here's the good news. Anybody can learn and grow how to be a better leader. It all just starts with, do you desire it enough to actually become a better leader? So the approach for me tonight is through the following. Let's look at the first thing. And I'm just going to give this as a teaser. Leadership to leader shift. And that is that you need to shift the way of your thinking. Now, I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag. And that is that with our 4 days training that's coming up in May, for the people who are part of the private club, that's exactly what our focus is going to be. And that is that we're going to talk about leadership and have 3 days of intense leadership development where we will have 2 certificates of attendance from the great John Maxwell. Now, Dr. John C. Maxwell said, everything rises and falls on leadership. Think about that again. Everything rises and falls on leadership. And therefore, you are invited to become part of this journey. And I would like to just put that stake out there that in May, we're going to be taking leadership to leader shift so that you can shift your mind and go to the next level. And then I want to start off with, you cannot be a great leader if you do not fall into self-leadership. How can you lead others if you can't lead yourself properly? And this is a challenge to you out there. I'm saying you, I'm looking you in the eyes and say to you, are you leading yourself ably? Are you leading yourself aptly? Are you doing yourself justice? Are you putting in sufficient effort to be a great leader? Don't take it flippantly, because you know what? As you heard with the strengths within you tonight, you have God-given talents. You have those talents that are there to actually take you to the next level. Because once you can take yourself to the next level, you can take others to the next level. Then there's a leadership DNA. It's how it is written is, what is your signature? You know, like Magriet spoke about, whether you use your right hand or your left hand when you're writing a letter, somehow the one hand is just more dominant than the other. Now, your DNA says it is what it is. You can't fake it. Then there's different leadership types, leadership styles, and leadership models. I just wanted to help you understand the first two, that your shift is necessary through self-leadership to better understand your DNA, different types, different styles, and different models. So that is the contextualization of what we're speaking about tonight. Let's take it from there. Let's talk about leadership types. To make it easy, these are the 4 leadership types that I believe holistically describe most of the behavioral types. Now, for people that understand what Dr. Michelle and I love doing, and that is to teach you on the DISC behavioral style, where we have a driver, an influencer, a supporter, and a compliant person. Now, from that emanates the 4 main leadership types. Firstly, you find that you get autocratic leadership. Autocratic because these people can, in times of trouble, stand up, become autocratic, take control, take command, and direct people in a way. In fact, sometimes an autocratic leader is very necessary. Can you imagine when there's a fire in a building? The leadership that you require is to say, move it, get out of here. Because that's an autocratic leader that will know how to use their voice, that will use their command, which is one of their strengths. And 10 to 1, when we look at strengths finders, often that person who's got command has got competition because they like to compete against people. I must say, when I heard tonight, some people get into the lift and press that button and press it again and press it again, I had a big chuckle about myself and I had my head down and like, oh my goodness, even my lift mannerism, which nobody can see, but you know, now I know, it's the strength that's within me. Because if you're autocratic, you're autocratic, good or bad, but it serves its purpose in certain equations. The next one is the inspirational leader. This is the kind of leader that you really want to follow because they've got charisma. These are the people that just make you feel you want to join, you want to be part of. In fact, if you're an inspirational kind of leader, people want to follow you. But there's also, I always said, with age comes added responsibility. You can be an inspirational leader from a young age. You can be a leader at school. but you can also know that inspirational leadership can be positive and can be negative. There's one of the leaders in South Africa. Everybody will know who I'm speaking about, with a fist in the air, that speaks about power all the time. That is one of the most influential leaders of this time. But that's not necessarily always positive leadership, because you can influence people to desire things that are not necessarily godly or even moral. So influential leadership, like autocratic leadership, has got its positives and has got its negatives. However, an influential leadership style can take you places, followed by a supportive leader, a type of leader that says, we in this together, don't stress. Together we will sort out a problem, and together we'll face the consequences. In fact, this is the kind of person that normally takes the rap for other people. This is the kind of person that says, I will support you no matter what. But that's the positive. But I want to warn you, there's a negative. There comes a point in time when they draw a line, and boy, once they've drawn that line in the sand, you will not get a second chance. They will warn you once and twice and a third time. But when that loyalty is overstepped, that supportive leader changes, to, in your mind, to a monster. It's up to you how you work with that supportive leader. They might be more quiet than the autocratic leader. They might be less passionate than the inspirational leader. But this supportive leader is the kind of leader that really has got the best people skills out of all other leadership types. And then lastly, the kind of leader that we have is the compliance leader. The leader says that I want you to follow the rules. I want you to stick by, tick the I's, dot the T's, but I want you to do things correctly. No second chance. You normally find that they're quite disciplinarians and they want to do things right. Compliance leaders are normally very harsh on themselves because they themselves fall into what we call perfectionism, and therefore sometimes expect other people to be perfect. Now that could be a positive and a negative, because when you expect a level of perfection, it is great. But when you over expect from other people to always be perfect as human beings, well, you forget that they are human beings, they're not human doings. Therefore, both on the compliance leadership, there's a positive and negative. So with leadership types, you've now heard autocratic, inspirational, supportive, and compliant. That just says these four leadership types is based on who you are in your DNA, based on your behavioral type. Now, tonight's not about discussing behavior, that will come in some other talk, but there's natural behavior and adaptive behavior, and that plays a role in terms of how these leadership types come to pass. After the leadership types, I would like to introduce you to the different styles. I believe these styles play a vital role whether you are successful or not successful. Now remember the context tonight, we're talking about the leader within. This is a self-assessment of you tonight at all times. You're going to have to go, that's me. And whenever you rate, I want you to rate yourself out of 10. 10 out of 10 says that's the maximum score that you can get. 5 out of 10 says that you're average. And 3 out of 10 says you're low or 2 or even 0. You're nothing at all. So the whole night is about assessment. When we looked at the previous slide, you would have already started assessing quietly, subliminally, are you autocratic, inspirational, supportive, or compliant? What kind of leader are you? When it comes to the leadership styles, this is how we will see what it looks like for us when you are basically leading us. Number one, you're either going to be controlling, or charismatic, or caring, or cold, because that is the style that you adopt. In other words, you can quickly work out that the autocratic leader becomes controlling. You can work out that the inspirational leader becomes charismatic. You can work out the supportive leader is very caring, and then the compliant leader can sometimes be very cold, stroke controlling. But the control is different. It's a more silent control, whereas the autocratic leader has got an extroverted control. You know, boy, control is control. Now, is this a good thing or a bad thing? It depends. It depends on the situation. Because at times, it is very important to have a strong leader up front that controls the situation and does not take nonsense. Sometimes you need that. Have you ever been in a class teaching a lot of students and they have no respect for their elders? Well, I can tell you that a controlling leadership type is the kind that brings them to attention. The charismatic leader might battle in the situation because by being charismatic, they want them to like them. And therefore, discipline becomes a problem. But when people buy into charismatic leadership style, people will follow them to the ends of the earth because it's fun. It's great to be with those people. They just have this passion, innate, built in inside of them, and they always grab your attention. The caring leader, well, maybe it doesn't stand out like the others, but boy, the caring leader is the kind that puts on the band-aid when it needs to be put on. I can tell you now, you cut yourself, you want to find someone that knows how to put on a band-aid. Well, that's a caring kind of leader that will know how to fix the wounds. But also, the good part about the caring leaders, they understand how to handle scars. They will handle your scar and understand that your scar will determine how you actually either react or respond to circumstance. So caring leadership has got its place. And then cold leadership. At times, people actually take you for granted. But cold leadership will take you to the next level and saying, no, I won't have it. And they will actually set the paradigm in terms of what is allowed and what is not allowed. So cold leadership can serve a purpose as well. All of them are leadership styles. None of them are wrong. It just depends on what kind of leadership type or style is required for a given situation. Well, that just gets you thinking. I'm talking about the topic of the leader within, and I'm helping you understand, apart from the strengths that you have, that you can find out that Magriet has taken us through very, very ably tonight, what is the leadership style or type that you've got innate within you? And the first question people ask me is, now, for instance, if I'm an autocratic leader and I tend to be controlling, do I need to desire to be like the other leadership types? Answer, it depends. Because sometimes you are the perfect leader for the situation, but sometimes you're not. But tonight's about identifying who you are and to know when to use that leadership type to be more effective as a leader. Remember the statement from John Maxwell, everything rises and falls on leadership. So your type and your style plays a vital role. Then there's quite a few models in the marketplace that's going to help you encapsulate how you would lead a team. Now, tonight I decided to actually look more at corporate governance and look at more at corporate leadership because we are a private club and private equity. And as you guys know, there is this overarching statement that says providing the framework for the optimal investor solution. Now, that's where the financial education part comes in. Now, the leadership model plays a role in terms of how we interact with you, how we engage with you. Now, with you, whether you're just here as an investor tonight, here's the truth. You're still a leader in your home. You might be a leader in your business. And one of these models or part of these models are going to basically resonate with you. But tonight is a strengthening of finding out the leader within and to start underlining and to work with what you have. I think the biggest gem I took out of Strength Finders tonight, and that is that to see that it started off with people doing what is right. Find out what is right with you. Find out what is right with people to get the best out of people. So in leadership models, the first leadership model I would like to explain to you tonight is the operational leadership model. This is the kind of leader that will have daily tasks to the T. Daily tasks will be written down. Things will be set in paper. People will even use commanding processes like Trello or whatever it is to have their daily tasks summarized and that is in front of them so that they can be operational. Then also there will be a big focus on processes and systems. They always will ask the question, what system is in place? And before you want to go and fix something, they'll say, no, stop. First fix the system and then you will fix what follows. Because they know is that you need to go, there's a difference between the cause and what people, they don't look at the cause. They basically just dig in and fix the problem. No, go to the cause, go to the root cause of fixing the problem. And this is what processes and systems will do. And operational leadership will be the kind of leader that's got the ability to do that for you, with you, to take you to the next level. Then effective and efficient functioning. They will see and look at teams and say, right, who has to do what function and get the effective person and efficient in the role that they are best in. Because operationally leadership, they'll know how to put the right person in the right job. Because of the operational leadership model, something that stands out is consequence, discipline, and punishment. Now, the one is negative and the one is positive. Discipline is positive. But I can tell you in South Africa, the moment you talk discipline, there's an outcry. No discipline. Because you know why? There's a lack of character, a lack of moral fiber. But discipline is good. You know, as you guys know, unashamedly, we are a kingdom business. And it says one thing: if you love your child, you will discipline your child. And in a corporate context, if you love your children, you'll discipline them. But punishment breaks down. That is not effective, because when you punish people, it has the negative effect. In fact, when you punish people, there is no aspiration to remedy or to fix that which they are doing wrong. But discipline is a good thing. So when you get disciplined at home or at work, please realize it's for your good, because someone with an operational leadership type loves you enough, cares enough for you to have consequent discipline come into it, which means you'll quickly learn if you do wrong, there's a consequence for every action. And that's why operational leadership has got the foundation of consequence discipline that takes you to the next level. So that's the first model that is being used in corporate today. The next model is organizational leadership. Now, this kind of leader works in a total different paradigm. It first starts with vision. Organizational leadership says, where's the organization going as a whole? What is the vision? What is the one thing what is the carrot in front of the donkey that will pull the cart? Because a donkey will not pull the cart if they are not motivated. Now, there's two ways you can motivate. You can put a carrot in front of the donkey, which means they aspire and they want to achieve it. That's why they walk to get the carrot, or you smack them from behind. Well, when you have to get people to buy in a vision by smacking them with a whip, it doesn't last long. Short-lived, you might get people to react and respond, and they actually then take action. But when people can buy into a vision, and this is the gift of an organizational leader, and this model of organizational leadership, where the leader can cast vision that people want to be part of the bigger picture. For instance, making the world a better place. I mean, some people says, I don't care. Other people go, that's me. I want to be part of the solution. I want to make the world a better place. But that might be a little bit wide as a vision. But the vision can be curtailed, like in our case, providing the framework for the optimal investor solution. That means bringing people to a place where they can join a private club, where there's leadership development through financial education. And I've just given you a tip of that financial education. Then they've got the ability to organize. They can organize functions, they can organize people, they can organize matters, they can organize priorities. For them, it's not difficult to organize, because they can drive an organization by organizing in different pillars of effectiveness. Why? They incorporate groups of people. Visionary leaders or organizational leadership has got the ability to establish groups of people that are excellent at what they're doing. You might find a group of people excellent at communicating, or you can find a group of people excellent at, for instance, the back office typing, doing corporate queries, excellent on computers. You know, some of us that are gray are better with the computers. You know, we have to understand, click, click. Sometimes one click is enough, but, you know, we overdo it. But organizational leadership says that person has got the ability to understand who to group, and groups the people and incorporates them into the different areas of function of a healthy organization. And then through that, the last thing is that they actually allocate accountabilities. Now, there's a difference between responsibility and accountability. Responsibility says, yeah, I feel responsible. But accountability says, I will take the blame for it. The buck stops with me. It's very easy to say, well, that wasn't my job. Well, that's in the realm of responsibility. But accountability says, even if I'm wrong, I will take the blame and I'll fix it, and it will not happen again, because that person will then show that they're buying into a greater vision, greater than themselves, to actually achieve what you set out to achieve. So that is organizational leadership. So there we've had two models tonight. We have had operational leadership and now organizational leadership. A third leadership type of model is strategic leadership. What does that look like? Strategic leadership is where there's key performance indicators. That means everybody knows strategically what they have to do but a set of key performance indicators will help them in terms of where do they reach to, what do they want to achieve, because already you cannot get to key performance indicators if you don't understand what the vision of the company is, if you don't understand what the mission of the company is. Therefore, the moment you can crystallize those into function, the strategic leadership model will help you with key performance indicators, indicators that know that you're successful. I'll give you one indicator. The weekly results that we actually put onto our core leadership group for dyers that says this was the week's performance, well, that's a key performance indicator. It's an indicator of what happened in the market, an indicator what happened to your investment. That's how we do that. Then also KPAs, key performance areas. Those areas are solidified and broken into and become compartmentalized. In fact, the strategic leader knows exactly how to dedicate an apportioned weighting to the different key performance areas. For instance, in the strategic realm, the person will spend more time in solidifying and clarifying the vision than what it would be to sit and actually type out emails, because the two just don't answer. He would say discussing strategy would be up here, a 9 or a 10 out of 10 for him, and typing emails will be a 2 out of 10 because of the ability to set those key performance areas. And they will adopt a weighting system to add weight to what is more important than whatever. In fact, we call this the Pareto principle, 80-20. And that is that the 20% of what you will do will deliver 80% of the results, called the Pareto principle. Then through the strategic leadership model, you also get milestones, various milestones that get reached in a certain time frame. Now, that's very important. You know, you can say, I want to be a millionaire. Fine. But when you say, I want to be a millionaire by December 2022, now you're talking milestone. That means your vision that you have with the purpose that you've attached to that, given into the goal setting, has now taken, and remember, vision into purpose into goal setting, now it's got a timeline. That's what a milestone is. A milestone says that you will strategically achieve a specific positioning strategically at a certain time. Milestones. A strategic leadership model cannot work without milestones. And then lastly, innovative paradigms, because this leader, being strategic, will understand that if you don't remain being innovative, you will not make it in a competing world. Take, for instance, the 10 jobs that we have today in terms of earning capacity did not even exist pre-1990. That's true. Just go and look at how the entire world has changed the nature of business. Just take how COVID-19 has changed the nature of business. Many small businesses went under. It's only those with the innovative paradigm, with the ability to see patterns, to study models, to say, hold on, this has happened in the past. What do people do? For instance, let's talk about the trading market. Traders love volatility, because when there is a paradigm shift or pattern shift in the market, that's where they make a lot of money. When there's a market crash, the strategic leaders buy. That's what they do. So when everybody else says, this is not working, and they get rid of their stock, that's when the people who are strategic say, now's the time to buy. Because why? They understand this part of innovation while other people will run from it. That's the authentic side of strategic leadership. So we've spoken about organizational, operational, strategic leadership. What other model is there out there? Can there be another model? I'm not sure. Let's see. Succession leadership. Now I change gear. Now I bring my voice down, and now I slow down. Because succession leadership all of a sudden takes leadership to a new level. Why? Because it's a developmental model. You saw in our statement when we said we're a private club specializing in leadership development. We gave you the key. Without the development of the leaders, we will not see a better tomorrow. Why? Because only when a leader has got the ability to transfer that leadership to the next leader, that means there's succession, will we have success. In fact, if you're a father and you're a good businessman and your son or your daughter ends up not being a business person, It's because you failed in succession leadership. And I challenge you today. Ask yourself the question with the leader that's within. Is that maybe the area that you need to brush up a bit? Because you want to transfer that to your children. You want to transfer that to the next generation so that a developmental model is what's going to keep this all together. So, in terms of the succession, processes play a vital role because processes that have been established, that have been improved, and that keep on changing to keep up with the time is what is required for succession leadership. Because the process that you used in 1934 surely is not active anymore in the year 2021. It can't be because times are different. Because I can tell you now we have different challenges. In 1934, they were thinking and dreaming of the vehicle. Whereas today, we're flying around in jets. Can you see? Processes with timing plays a vital role. Then supported by the next thing, which is called systems. Now, here's the biggest problem that the budding entrepreneur makes. He or she does not create succession leadership because of this one thing. They fail to have a system in place that can take the company to the next level. Now, I can tell you gallantly, this is the reason why MyWealth has for 3 years been working behind the scenes on a system that will carry millions of people towards financial wellness. But that system has to be right. And yes, people have criticized us in terms of, but you have taken so long in terms of your pre-launch phase. So be it. Until the system is right, effective, and accurate, it is unwise leadership to push the model for the sake of appealing and appeasing people. The people who are moaning and groaning, well, you're not wearing my boots. You're not wearing the executive's boots. So all I can say to you is, please take a chill pill, because we are doing what we have to do in the right time, and it will come to pass soon. And I can proudly say that, because the system is what's going to help us have succession in terms of our leadership going forward. And then lastly, this model is very time frame approachable. And that is that there's always a time for certain activities. When entrepreneurs start off, it's anything and everything counts. Whenever they see something peaks, they run after it. In fact, we call this shiny object syndrome. Have you seen, especially now on a daily basis, I must be invited on a daily basis to a new cryptocurrency mining project or trading project on a daily basis. I can tell you in the past 2 weeks, one every day. You cannot run after everything. You cannot support everything because there's a time for everything. Now, if you roll this back, if you want succession, is the time right to follow this shiny object? Is there a system in place? What are the processes? And is it a developmental model that's going to last? Because why? Where's the focus? On the succession. The focus is not on today, but on tomorrow and the day thereafter. Therefore, you can see that there's some level of maturity in a succession leadership model. I move you to the next model, the steward leadership model. Now we're talking. Now all of a sudden, when we've looked with the leader that's innate and within us, where we're all aspiring, I want to be organizational, I want to be strategic, and then, okay, succession makes sense, but steward leadership? Wow. What makes this model stand out? Because everything is about purpose. If you think that MyWealth is there to help people make money, you have missed the mark. In fact, I sat in a leadership meeting with Schalk Botha, the founder and director of MyWealth, the other day, where he was speaking to an international in terms of what makes MyWealth different from the rest. And this is what caught my attention. It's not about helping people make money. It's about helping them live their purpose. Wow. You help people live their purpose, then the money will follow anyway. Because if they know what they want to achieve and who they want to achieve it for themselves, for their family, for the greater good of their creator, or whatever their means are, purpose will drive you to a next level. And that's possible because of a steward leadership model that says that we want to be wise stewards of that which has been imparted to us and given to us. I mean, what do you do when you get a gift? It's very rare that you find a gift that comes to you nice and shiny, nicely wrapped with a ribbon, that you actually don't open the gift. Well, if you don't, well, you're not normal. Because we all love to just untie the ribbon, and some people just take it and rip the paper off because they're so excited. But I can tell you one thing. You have been given a gift, and I've been given a gift. And those gifts are innate in our DNA. I spoke to you earlier on about self-leadership followed by your DNA. This is part of what's in your DNA. Because if you can live your purpose, if you can help other people live their purpose, we're talking going next level. Because it's all about impact and dominion. Dominion? Yes, dominion. Because steward leadership is elevated above corporate leadership. In fact, I can tell you now, there is a leadership structure higher than corporate structure of business, and that is kingdom business. Bottom line. Because in a kingdom business, you help establish dominion. That means that you take so much market space and get people to be part of it that many peoples of the world all over get the benefit. And not just only the elitist, not just only the top echelon. And therefore you will have impact. Because a steward leadership model is the one that comes and supports and stewards that which has been given to them and make it great and greater. Why? You want to leave a footprint for others to follow. So when you leave that footprint for people to follow, it's a path, it's a pathway, it's a track. I can't help thinking of that there's a lamp to my feet and a light to my path. I can't help thinking of those words. That it says, if you have a lamp to your feet that you can see what you're doing, but a light to your path that you know where you're going, man, you're going to leave a footprint for others to follow as you go on that journey. It's about dominion because it's not about you. It's who you're doing it for. And then lastly, that will result in a blueprint for generations. Now, I want you to think clearly tonight. All these leadership models are at your disposal. Where? Within you. Within your capability to grow and to embrace them and to go to the next level. But will what you do become a blueprint for generations to come? I believe if you subdue yourself to a greater authority than yourself, if that what you do is greater than who you are, steward leadership, this model will help the next generation come to pass. So when it comes to leadership development, this is how I believe MyWealth method is there to serve you. You've heard about the types, the styles, and the models that's available. But leadership development, we spoke about that. It gets done in the following way. Through education where we do training and teaching. That training and teaching is there to help you get to the next level. That's why once you become a free member, and all you have to do is to speak to the person that invited you to this meeting tonight and say, I want in. I want this leadership development that you're speaking about because I want to develop me and then help develop others. Well, that's the education part. Every Monday night, we meet at 7 o'clock where a topic gets trained for you to become more efficient as a leader through training and teaching. That's what we do. Other part that we do then is that we facilitate. We facilitate specifically something that's been reverse engineered. Because you can only facilitate something if you know what the result is of what you want to achieve. Now, we gave you a bit of a clue, providing the framework for the optimal investor solution. Well, to get there, we had to come to a point of reverse engineering our end destination of what we want to see in the lives of people. Therefore, we are facilitating a process that has been handed to us through steward leadership that we're trying to acquire that. So not only is there education, not only is there facilitation, but there's also mentoring. Now, mentoring is very specific. It's a specialist area. What is an example of a mentor? Let's say, for instance, there is a team playing rugby, and you see that the scrum half is just not coping. Somehow that pass is just, the timing is wrong, and the ball sort of hits the shoulder of the fly half. A mentor who has been a scrum half before would be the person say, stop and go to the scrum half, and scrum half to scrum half, that specialist will say, this is what you're doing wrong. You're placing the ball in the wrong position because you're forgetting that there's movement. And because there's movement, you have to anticipate that the person will be in movement. Therefore, you have to place the ball more in front of the person. Now, if the ball is hitting their shoulder, you might have to have the person move backwards to gain speed. So there's a combination of your ball placement in front and the speed of the person to match to get to the next positioning. Now, that's what a mentor will do. They are specialists of knowing exactly what to do to take you. And I can tell you now, this is what we're busy doing. We're busy educating our leaders to learn how to facilitate, but learn how to mentor. And we're looking for mentors in different areas. If the one person is a mentor specialist in communication, we use them for communication. If the next person is brilliant at systems, we use them for systems. Because we do believe to use people with the God-given gifts and talents that they have been given. And then lastly, we get to a point where we actually have got a ranking system where ultimately the top position in our company will be for coaches. Coaches holistically understand what people require. I mean, do you want to be effective when it comes to just finance? No. You want to have wealth that includes finance and health and physical and spiritual and social, all of those areas taken care of, because a coach understands holistically what you require to go to the next level. And therefore, the coach is the person like the coach on the side of the rugby team that knows what every single position has to do to be effective for that team to collectively win the game. Therefore, coaching is vitally important. And you being part here tonight, my compliments. You are being coached right now in terms of how to become a leader better, how to take the leader within you to resonate with the past that you say who you are, but also to start aspiring to past that you heard, I want to be that person. And that coaching is going to get you there. So that's the leadership development. So ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to conclude by just sharing with you a few principles that I live in my life. The first three principles I read at the age of 22. Now, I can tell you now, that's so long ago. That's when Moses played scrum half for Egypt. It's a long time ago, all right? And I read a book by Ken Blanchard called The 1 Minute Manager. It literally took me one day to read it. But you know, since that age of 22, the first three principles I remember, the MBWA principle. At first I thought, what's this MBWA they're talking about? And I can tell you, I've been in management for more than 40 years. MBWA says, manage by walking around. For instance, if you're a parent, you know one thing. The moment the kids go quiet in the room, guess what you do? You better go check. In business, manage by walking around. Never be stationary and get caught up with the system and the machinery and the emails and the communication in front of you, so you miss out on the interactiveness of meeting with other people and meeting them at their point of need. So manage by walking around. It's the first principle I like to live my life by. The second one is do it right the first time. Oh gosh, why is it that we rush into things, we mess it up, and we never have time? We feel like we've got this time machine driving us, but we always find time to do it right the second time. Isn't that just stupid? Sorry, there's no other word. So do it right the first time. Another second gem from Ken Blanchard. And the last thing was, catch people doing something right. Oh, I love that. Can you imagine the person is busy doing something, you come around and say, hey, they go, what? They immediately think they did something wrong and say, man, I want to congratulate you. That was fantastic. Catch people doing something right. You want to live by this principle? Trust me, your business will go to the next level. Your family will go to the next level. And then I just wanted to share 3 pointers as I start concluding to say, make a difference that really makes a difference. Why waste the God-given talents and energy that you've received? You are a gift to mankind. You are a gift to yourself. So when you buckle up into self-leadership and understand what it takes to lead yourself ably, then you can do that to make a difference that really does make a difference. If you're not sure whether you're doing that or not, ask your family. They'll tell you. Ask your wife. She's very honest. Ask your colleagues. They'll tell you. Then I would like to say this. Live to add value to others. The moment you realize it's not about you, the moment you realize it's about others and taking them to the next level, your entire game plan changes because you know it's next level. And then lastly, somebody once said, one is too small a number to achieve greatness. And I conclude with the words of Dr. John C. Maxwell, And I remind myself, one is too small a number to achieve greatness, because together we can. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ant. This was next level stuff. You have really managed to take us to the next level, even in our minds, thinking on, there's so much to remember, but it's actually very simplified, and it's so easy to be able to implement, and that's what makes a great teacher. And thank you very much for that. I just want to conclude, in tonight. Yes, it was an action-packed, information-filled night, and I really appreciate both of our guest speakers and Doc Ant being part of the family. I think there's a lot of things that he said that really resonate so strongly with me, especially with the steward leadership and also with succession, because that is what we at MyWealth really strongly believe. And it's the way we also lead is servant leadership. It's a stewardship. It's something that God has entrusted to us. So I just want to say in conclusion, thank you very much for all the hard work that went into this, and I think surely everybody drew a lot of value out of what was said tonight and what was taught tonight, and so much to think about in order to go and implement it in our own lives. I also want to challenge everybody who has listened to this. It sounds so high level. It is really high level stuff, and it's meant to take you to the point where you are operating at the top of your sport, at the top of your field that you are tackling, the top of the mountain that you are climbing. And I want you to realize this is not out of your reach. We are a team, we are a family, we are a company of people who will stick it out together on the long term. And when the culture of the kingdom takes our company by force, which is the culture is honor. Honor is the thing of, when do I lead and when am I being led? Knowing that difference and being, yielding as well as leading at the same time, and also having the maturity to discern when to do what. And I just want to finish with this: a true leader help others to see who God created them to be, and then also release them into their platform. Dr. Ant and Magriet, thank you very much for what you've done for us tonight and what you told us and what you taught us. It was really awesome. We appreciate you as our spiritual father here in MyWealth, and we truly honor you for the great experience that you have and also the great person that you are. We really love you, and we love everybody that has been with us tonight. Thank you for being here. Thank you for coming on to the IBC. And with that, we are going to say cheers for now, up until the next month, which is going to be the 6th of May, the next IBC. So put that in your diaries. Looking forward to that. God bless you and good night.
Thank you, Scala.